I have a question for you today and for everyone listening. It's going to sound a little like a riddle.
Oh, I like a good riddle. Go on.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
If death is the opposite of birth, then what is the opposite of life?
That's a good one. My immediate gut reaction is just to say death.
Right. It's the automatic answer.
It is. It's what we're all taught.
It's the binary, light and dark, up and down, beginning and end, so life and death. It feels like it should be the ultimate pair of opposites.
It feels neat, symmetrical. You've got the start and you've got the finish.
Well, today we're going to completely take that idea apart. We're doing a deep dive into this really thought-provoking piece from Joyful Headspace called Death is the Opposite of Birth, but What is the Opposite of Life?
Okay.
And its main point is that if you answer death to that riddle, you're actually making a fundamental category error.
A category error. Okay, so this is like a logic problem.
It kind of is, yeah. But if we really follow where this article goes, we find that the true opposite of life isn't dying. It's actually something a lot scarier.
Scarier than death.
Something you might even be doing right now and not even know it.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a high bar. You have my attention.
I think so, yeah. The whole idea is that we spend all this energy running away from death, thinking it's the enemy, when what we should be running from is this other thing entirely.
So let's start there, with the error. Why isn't death the opposite of life? That feels like day one biology. If you're dead, you're not alive.
So the author makes this really clever distinction. It's about time. Think about the moment you were born.
Okay.
Not the whole day, just the actual event.
Right. It's a specific date, a specific time, a data point on a chart.
It's a dot on a timeline. It happens once, and it's done. Now, think about death.
Same thing. It's the other dot, a specific moment in time when things stop, the other bookend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Birth and death are events. They're points. They're like doorways. You enter through one, you exit through the other. But life isn't a dot.
Life is the space between the dots.
It's the space between them, or as the article calls it, a process. It's the
Yeah.
duration. It's all the stuff that happens on that line connecting the two dots.
I see. So you can't really compare a process with an event?
You can't.
It's like comparing, I don't know, the entire race to the finish line. You wouldn't say the finish line is the opposite of running.
That's a perfect analogy. It's just where the running stops. If birth is the starting gun and death is the finish tape, life is all the breathing and the sweating and the movement in between.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate for a second. Even if it's a category error, doesn't death still function as the opposite? It ends the process.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And that's where all our anxiety comes from, right? We see the stop as a negation, as game over.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like a subtraction. Everything you did is just gone.
But the article totally flips that. It says death doesn't cancel life. It completes it.
It completes it.
It defines the edges of the picture. Without the edges, you wouldn't even see the picture.
Defines the edges.
Yeah.
What does that mean in, like, practical terms?
Well, think about why anything is valuable. Why is a diamond valuable?
Because it's rare. There's a limited supply. If they were everywhere, we'd use them for gravel.
Exactly. Scarcity creates value. And the argument here is that the only reason your time today actually matters, the only reason you care about anything, is because you don't have an infinite amount of it.
So if we were all immortal, there'd be no urgency to do anything.
None at all. You could put off that phone call for 1,000 years. Who cares? The stakes are zero. Death is what provides the scarcity. It's the frame that makes the painting matter.
So in a strange way, death isn't the enemy of life. It's a collaborator.
It's a collaborator.
That is a hard concept to swallow, I think. We are wired to avoid that particular collaborator.
Oh, 100%. I'm not suggesting we should run towards it. But the source is trying to get us to stop fixating on the end of the line.
And look at the line itself.
And look at the quality of the line itself.
Yeah.
Which brings us all the way back to the riddle.
Right. If death isn't the opposite, what is the opposite of the process of living?
This is the part of the piece that, honestly, it hit me pretty hard. The author says the opposite of life is absence.
Absence.
And not physical absence, not being gone. It's being here, in the room, heart beating, lungs working, but being totally absent.
So this is the whole lights are on but nobody's home idea.
Exactly. The living dead. The article says that since life is defined by active verbs, loving, choosing, learning, connecting, the opposite is the refusal to do any of that. It's disengagement.
Disengagement, that sounds so clinical.
It does, but I think the symptoms are things we all recognize, and it's not always obvious. It isn't just someone staring at a wall all day.
Right, you can be incredibly busy and still be completely disengaged.
Oh, absolutely. You could be running a major company, raising 3 kids. You could be posting all over social media about your amazing life and be totally checked out.
So how do you know?
Yeah.
What are the symptoms if you've slipped into this state of absence?
Well, the piece lists a few, and I have to admit, a couple of them felt a little too familiar. The first one is going through the motions without meaning.
The autopilot trap.
Totally.
Okay.
Ever drive home from work, you pull in the driveway, and you have zero memory of the last 20 minutes.
All the time. It's actually kind of scary when it happens.
That's a little moment of absence. Your body was doing the work, but you weren't there. Now just imagine that feeling stretched over a whole week, a month, a year.
Just running the program. Wake up, coffee, commute, emails, dinner, TV, sleep, and then do it again.
You're surviving. You're keeping the machine running. But are you living?
That's the key distinction, isn't it? Surviving versus living.
I think so. The second symptom they mention is existing without connection. We have more ways to be connected than ever before, but this is about real, messy human connection.
It's easier to send a text than make a phone call. It's easier to just scroll past someone's vacation photos than to actually ask them how they're really doing.
It's the path of least resistance.
Mm.
And life, real life, is not about the path of least resistance. It's full of friction. Feelings are messy. Relationships are complicated.
So to avoid the messiness, we just check out.
And numb out. That's the core of it, really. The author basically defines this state as numbness.
But hang on a second. Sometimes I feel like I need to numb out. If I've had a really brutal week at work, zoning out in front of the TV can feel like the most life-affirming thing I can do.
And that is a really, really important distinction to make. There's a difference between rest and numbness.
Okay.
Rest is strategic. It's restorative. You're recharging your batteries so you can get back in the game. Numbness is an escape.
Oh.
You're doing it to avoid playing the game at all.
So one's a pit stop, the other is just quitting the race altogether.
Exactly. And the article says something really bold about emotions. We think things like sadness and pain are bad, right? We try to avoid them.
Of course.
But the article says sadness is not the opposite of life.
Because it's a feeling. You're engaged with it.
Yes. If you are feeling deep grief, or you're heartbroken, or even if you're furious, think about how intense that is, how visceral. You are arguably at your most alive in those moments.
That's actually true. Grief is brutal, but it is definitely not numb.
Numbness is when you don't feel anything, when the walls are so high that nothing gets in. Not the pain, but not the joy either.
It's a flat line.
It's an emotional flatline. And the deep dive suggests that when we refuse to engage, when we choose being safe over being vulnerable or curious, we are, in that moment, choosing the opposite of life.
So that defense mechanism we all have, the I don't want to get hurt, so I'll just pull back, that's actually the enemy.
It's a shield that slowly turns into a coffin.
Wow. It's a grim way to put it.
It is grim, but it clarifies why absence is the true opposite. Death is an event that happens to your body. Absence is a choice you make with your mind.
And that's actually way more useful. I mean, we can't control when we die, but we can control whether or not we're absent.
And that's the empowering part of all this. If the disease is disengagement, then the antidote has to be presence.
Presence. I gotta say, that word feels a little co-opted. You know, it sounds like something on a yoga poster. Be present.
It does. It sounds a bit fluffy. But the article breaks it down into something that's actually really practical and, frankly, kind of hard.
Okay, so what does it really mean? What does active participation look like on a random Tuesday?
It means showing up.
Yeah.
Specifically, showing up in 4 areas. First one, showing up for your feelings.
Which goes right back to the numbness thing. So if you're feeling sad, actually feel sad. Don't just immediately reach for your phone to distract yourself.
Right. Sit with it for a minute. That's hard work. Most of our modern world is designed to help us not do that.
That's for sure. Okay, what's the second one?
Showing up for other people. Not just being in the same room, but actively listening. Realizing that the person talking to you has an inner life that is just as complex and vivid as your own.
Instead of treating them like an NPC in your own video game?
Yes. A non-player character who's just there to give you information so you can get on with your quest. To actually see them, that's an act of engagement. That's life.
What are the other two?
Presence to purpose, which is just asking yourself, why am I doing this? And presence to the moment.
That purpose one is huge. How many of us are just doing the thing we're doing because it's what we did yesterday?
Or climbing a ladder just because it was the one everyone else was climbing.
And you get halfway up and realize you're afraid of heights.
Exactly. And the last one, presence to the moment, isn't just about meditating. It's about not spending your entire life living in your memories of the past or your anxieties about the future.
Which is where our brains love to go. We're either replaying an argument from last week or pre-worrying about a meeting next month.
And meanwhile, today is just
Right.
slipping by, completely unnoticed.
You know, hearing all this laid out, it sounds exhausting to be that on and that engaged all the time.
I think that's fair. And the article basically says, yeah, it is work. It argues that life isn't something you have, it's something you do.
That's a really important shift in thinking. We talk about my life like it's a possession, like it's a thing in a box.
But you don't have a dance. You would do a dance. The second you stop moving, the dance is over. Life is the performance.
And if you stop performing, if you stop engaging, the biological machine might keep running, but the dance is over. You've slipped into the opposite of life.
You stepped into that void of absence.
Mhm.
And that completely reframes our fear of death, which is where we started this whole conversation.
How so?
Because we spend our whole lives worrying about the finish line, we might accidentally just walk through the entire race. We're so terrified of the book ending that we forget to actually read the pages.
Wow. We're so busy preserving the body, we forget to inhabit the awareness.
There's this one line in the piece that really stuck with me. It says, when presence fades, life dims, not because the body stops, but because awareness does.
That really puts the responsibility back on you, doesn't it? You can't just blame your job or your schedule. Those things make it harder, sure, but engagement is an internal choice.
It is, and that's the real takeaway from this deep dive. It turns the phrase, being alive, from a simple biological fact into a choice you have to make every single day.
A choice you have to make over and over again.
Every hour, maybe? Am I going to autopilot through this conversation, or am I going to actually listen? Am I going to just scroll through my phone, or am I going to look out the window?
It raises the stakes of just a normal, boring day.
It makes the boring stuff matter.
Yeah.
Because even in the boring stuff, you have that choice, presence or absence.
And if you choose absence too many times, that's how people wake up at 50 and wonder where the last 20 years went.
That's it exactly. That feeling of time flying by. That is a direct symptom of absence. When you're truly present, time feels richer. It almost feels slower.
Because you were actually there for it.
Because you were there for it. So let's try to sum this up. We started with that riddle.
Right? What's the opposite of life?
Right.
We decided it's not death.
Death is just the bookend. It's the event that gives the process of life value and urgency. It's not the enemy.
The real enemy, the true opposite of life, is choosing to check out. It's absence.
Yeah.
Disengagement.
Numbness, the state of just going through the motions.
And the antidote to all of that is presence, which is the active, sometimes really difficult choice to show up for yourself, for other people, for right now.
It changes the question from how long do I have to how fully am I here?
How widely will I live?
How widely will I live? I love that. It's about the bandwidth, not just the duration.
Yeah, it's about staying in the dance.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one last thing to think about. We often ask people, what do you want to do with your life? As if life is just this empty bucket you have to fill up with achievements and experiences.
The bucket list mentality.
Right. But based on what we've talked about today, maybe the more important question is this. How much of your life are you actually planning to attend?
Oof. That's a good one.
Are you just going to hang out in the lobby, or are you going to go in and watch the show? Because the show is happening right now.
I think I'm going to try to watch the show today. Even the boring parts.
Me too. Even the traffic jam on the way home.
Okay, let's not get carried away.
Baby steps.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.